Usman is with me because he loves me. He's not with me just for a K1 visa.
Hello my friends, you're listening to Ebird Online, and today we're going to be talking over the dumpster fire that is Kim and Sojaboy's relationship. But before we begin, I have a special surprise montage. Kim, over to you, lest we forget.
So just say we got married, just say. I would allow him to marry a second wife and have kids. I don't want any more kids. Does Usman want kids? Absolutely. If Usman has multiple wives, I feel like that it's okay because I love him. It's his culture and I respect his culture and his religion so much. I truly mean that. I truly mean that. I'm the first wife, right? Mm-hmm. You know, like I get all the love. I get all the good stuff. I get to travel. I still get to do me. Like I still get to be Kim. I would just be married to him, right?
So guys, as you see from this little montage, Kim hasn't just said, but she's doubled down, she's tripled down, she's quadrupled down on the fact that she's very happy for Usman to have another wife. In fact, she's excited at the idea. According to Kim, it's going to be fantastic. Fast forward a little bit onto this week, but wait, what's this?
Why are you just changing now?
I'm just not changing. I'm asking a question. You know what?
You change it
was
now.
Nice to meet you, but I'm going to go because your ass is pissing me off.
Oh my god guys, this week Sojaboy let Kim know that he wants not one, not two, not three, but possibly 4 other wives. He also wants them all to live together and potentially for Kim to raise one of the children. Surprise, surprise, Kim's no longer happy with the arrangement, i.e. water is wet. And once again, the world looks on aghast as Kim dashes yet another drink all over Sojaboy. He's barely had time to dry himself off from the last swilling. So guys, I'm going to break down why this whole polygamous marriage malarkey went absolutely left. We all saw it coming, but who would have thunk it would have taken so much time for the two protagonists in this story to realise exactly the same. But just before I begin, please if you enjoy my videos, do not forget to subscribe to my channel. And a massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed so far. And also if you don't want to miss any of my uploads, please don't forget to hit the notification bell. And finally, to help me out with my algorithm, please don't forget to like this video. Thanks guys, and so without further ado, I give you Kim and Sojaboy. So very briefly, let's catch up on what we've missed with these two star-crossed lovers. Apparently Kim was called by Sojaboy in the closed season, and he told her he loved her. Sojaboy invited Kim over to Nigeria, and she took the very next flight out. More than likely. They had an amazing time, and so now she's back. She's planning her next trip to Nigeria, and on that trip, she plans to propose to him. What? Yes, that's right. She's planning to ask Sojaboy to marry her. Now let's just sit back for a moment and survey the facts. Firstly, she had to beg Usman to kiss her. Then she had to beg him to kiss her in public. Remember, he declined. Then she had to beg him to sleep in the same room as her. And after a lot of tussling, tantrums and threats, he finally relented. And then she had to beg him to have sex with her. And again, after a tantrum or two, he put in a very reluctant performance. Kim, when you've had to beg for all of that, you pretty much sit back and wait for him to ask you to marry him. But Kim meets up with a couple of her friends, and she lets them know that she's going to propose to him, and they think it's, well, quite frankly, a ridiculous idea. They believe it to be the plan of a fool. They're quite perturbed, and they want to know the particulars of this rarely ventilated second marriage. And her friend asked Kim if she's talked to Sojaboy about the second wife. And Kim shouted her down. She said, I'm the first wife. I get all the love. I get all the good stuff. I still get to do me. Guys, she's living in cloud cuckoo land, and her friends tell producers as much. They say they're worried about her, and it's their belief that she doesn't know the first thing about it. But she tells them that she's going to apply for the K1 visa for Sojaboy, and when he moves over to America, he'll be Son's the second wife. Apparently, she'll be still in Africa, along with the child. Kim, where are you getting all of this from? I know for a fact that you and Sojaboy haven't spoken about this. Very often, when people have polygamous marriages, they all live together, or at very least, in close proximity. Also, what would make Sojaboy want to have kids so much, but then to put a couple of continents in between him and his offspring? But apparently, according to Kim, she's been busy reading Islamic law and she knows how it all works. Really, Kim? Guys, Kim's the kind of idiot to get all her information from bloody Twitter. Or worse still, TikTok. That's where she learns everything she knows. So when her friends decide to quiz her about this, she gets all, you're entitled to your opinion, and she storms off, like she always does. Kim thinks that this second wife is going to be impregnated and then forgotten about until the kid's old enough to smoke cigarettes behind the bike sheds. And I have every reason to believe that Kim is getting this second wife all mixed up with a surrogate. So, as per usual, Kim jumps up and storms off. And meanwhile, her friends say that they think she's being, well, rather stupid. Of course she's being stupid. It's difficult for someone who is stupid to stop being stupid. Many have tried and few have succeeded. And so then we briefly go over to see Usman, who's chatting with his brother back in Nigeria. He lets his brother know that Kimberly's coming over in a couple of days. And then he too says he wants to get engaged so he can get the visa to go to the States. And guys, he puts those two things together. He doesn't, like Kim before him, say, I want to get married because I'm in love. He says, I want to get married so I can start the visa application. I fear that's his major concern. His brother Mohammed asks him, what about children? And Sojaboy said, I'll get another wife. And even Mohammed said, are you sure about that? As far as I've ever known, American women do not like polygamous marriages. But then Sojaboy says he needs to meet a young woman for a second wife. But also, he needs to love her. What? You want to be in love? I thought this was just a baby maker. A sperm incubator, if you will. And of course, this is in direct contradiction to what Kim thinks will happen. But unfortunately in direct correlation to what I and the rest of the world thinks will happen. And then, ladies and gentlemen, finally, we see the lovely Jamal, which is pretty much my main reason for covering the couple this season. Kim sits her mum and Jamal down and she tells them that she plans to go to Nigeria and propose to Sojaboy. And Jamal has a look on his face that says, I cannot believe my MF ears. He said, Mum, that's not how it works. It's the man that should propose. And Jamal then tells producers that he's not happy with the plans. Don't worry, Jamal, they're not plans, they're just fantasies of your mother. And once again, Kim decides to be all dramatic, and she says, I want to marry him because I love him. And Kim lets production know that although Jamal's very important to her, she's still going to do what she's going to do. And so Kim decides to pack, and Jamal decides to help her. What a good boy he is. And as she's putting things into her suitcase, Jamal catches sight of her bright red negligee. He lets her know, Mum, that's disgusting. And he secretly takes the negligee out of Kim's case. But Jamal's got something on his mind. He wants to know from his mum, why do you think that Sojaboy chose you out of all the other people that he was talking to online? And Kim says the following. He likes white women. He also says he likes older women. And finally, he loves curvy women. Well, let's see, shall we, Kim? I'd like to see if his new wife, the one he's going to get in Nigeria, is going to be white, older and curvy. I sincerely doubt it. I think he chose Lisa before you and now you, Kim, so that he can get his green card and pretty much do what he wants. If he got somebody that was 20 or 25, they might reasonably expect they're going to have a proper relationship. And this is not just for the green card. And the second reason I think he's chosen your demographic is because he knows that the general public, who are obviously going to be watching, when he finally splits up with you, after he's got his green card and papers and so on, are not really going to be in your corner because they're going to say, well, you knew you were 55 and he was 32. What did you expect? So he's not going to get the cancellation treatment from social media. That's what I think his game is. Sojaboy wants somebody who's grateful. That way the relationship is far more manageable for him. But Jamal thinks that this whole thing from Sojaboy is a business relationship. But when he asks Kim about this, Kim says, no, it's not. Oh, come on now, Kim. I'm not saying that Sojaboy's treating this relationship as a business agreement, but he's only got 2 more regulatory requirements to attain his ISO 9000 status. And finally, Jamal says he doesn't think the give and take is even. And you know what, guys? He's right. Kim would need Oprah's money to even up those bloody stakes. And so finally, we're here. Kim's on her way to the airport. And she lets us know, if this doesn't work out, I will never, ever date again. Oh, really, Kim? If only Angela from Angela and Michael had the same thought. And Jamal takes her to the airport and he says, I want her to be happy, but I also want her to be smart. Really, Jamal? Then back to school for Kim. And Kim boards her flight. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, Sojaboy's busy talking to production. And he lets them know that this time they're going to stay in the same room so they can have sex. However, he does let them know that him finding a second wife is on his mind. And as he goes to greet her from her flight, he's brought her some presents. Oh wow, what did he buy? He's bought her 2 cuddly toys. Cuddly toys versus Apple Macs and PS5. Yep, Jamal's right. This relationship is not one bit equal. So she arrives off the plane and he kisses her, and she's so excited and happy that he actually kissed her in public. Oh my God, Kim, Sojaboy has your expectations set spectacularly low. Your expectations are lower than Sumit's belly. And so the couple arrive at the hotel room, and she unpacks the gifts that she's got for him, and she's brought him jewellery, some sort of, I don't know, bracelet, and she's got a matching one. Kim, you should have bought 3. What about the second wife? Oh Lord, this is going to be a shit show. And Kim lets us all know that it's not about what she can give Sojaboy, it's what's in her heart. Kim, until you stop buying him expensive gifts, you'll never know. Well, in fact you will, I'll tell you. No, it's about what you can buy and what you can offer. And so the couple decide to go for a drink. And guys, as they sit down to drink, there's a rumour going round. It's all over social media. Now don't shoot the messenger. It's just what I heard. And I'm not saying I believe it, but the rumour is that Sojaboy bought Kim a drink. I know, it's very unlikely, but that's just what I heard. But Kim has something on her mind, and she asks him, Sojaboy, where's the second wife going to live? And he lets her know she'll be in Sokoto, in the house. And Kim said, yep, well, that's fine. I don't want to see her. She needs not to be in the same city as me. And then Sojaboy says, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous. We should all be living together. What's the big deal? You're sharing the same dick, after all. Oh, I wouldn't be too sure, Sojaboy. I've got a feeling that your dick won't be anywhere near Kim once you have another option. But guys, you can see at this point, Kim's getting very worried. And she tells production, I have every right to say where she lives, as I'm the first wife. And surprise, surprise, they begin arguing about the subject. And Sojaboy said, she can live wherever I say. And so the couple continue arguing. And guys, I can't help but notice that Sojaboy, I don't know, some kind of ridiculous smirk on his face. Especially when he made the, you're both sharing the same dick comment. But now he wants to stop the argument. And what's his way of doing it? Of course, he just simply says to Kim, I don't want to talk about it right now. Let's just enjoy each other's company. Yeah, I guess that will get rid of the problem, won't it? So later the same evening they decide to go to a bar and they're meeting one of Sojaboy's friends. And I think that Sojaboy has brought this friend along so that he can allay Kim's fears about this second wife, for he has a second wife himself. And Kim lets production know, I'm totally fine with the whole second wife thing as long as I never ever have to meet her. Sojaboy thinks I have to interact with her. Well, no way. Well, Kim, let's look at this logically. If Sojaboy's child wants to spend any time at your house, maybe school holidays or something, don't you think the other wife is going to want to meet you so she knows who her child is hanging out with? Kim really hasn't thought any of this through. And all three talk about the reality of a second wife, and Sojaboy's friend lets Kim know that both the wives must be equal. And if for some reason Sojaboy does love one wife more than the other, he has to hide it, or else there's going to be trouble. Kim pipes up and says that Sojaboy told her that the role of the second wife was just to have kids. And his friend says no, and he shakes his head. But things are about to get immeasurably worse, because Sojaboy lets Kim know that he wants to have 10 kids. And he's worked out mathematically how he can do it. He says, if I have 3 other wives, within 4 years I can have 10 kids. The first one's going to have twins, the second's going to have triplets, the third one's going to have a kid in year 1, year 3 and year 4, and blah blah blah. He's got it all worked out. And the whole time he's talking, Kim's shaking her head and saying no. And she's very upset by this point. She lets producers know, if Sojaboy had told me this in the first instance, I would never ever have come to Nigeria. I would have been out. Well, Kim, now you do know it, so are you out? Guys, of course she isn't. She's still right there by his side. And guys, while all of this is happening, I'm just thinking to myself, who's going to pay for all of these 10 kids? Will it be Sojaboy? Possibly, but I've got a feeling that Kim will be subsidising each and every one of them. But guys, 10 children, 4 wives, even though I've said previously that Kim behaves stupidly at points, this is a shock even for me. Of course she's very unhappy, because it seems there's an awful lot that Sojaboy hasn't told her. I thought he brought his friend to help explain the situation to her. But I realise now it was in a vain attempt to try and stop her from kicking off when he delivers this searing blow to her. But Sojaboy, you should learn from past experiences. Last time she swilled you with a drink, did she care who was watching? No, she didn't. Does she care how she speaks to you in front of your friends? No, she doesn't. And then his friend tells Kim that the wives should all be friends. And Sojaboy said, I should bring a child to you in America. Oh, good Lord, things are getting worse. Sojaboy needs to call a doctor. He needs to ask if shutting the fuck up is right for him. I think it is. And Sojaboy's now moaning to production. Kim said she was okay with the idea of a second wife. Maybe she lied, maybe she wasn't. Maybe, Sojaboy, she didn't know about wife 3 and 4. Maybe she didn't know about 10 kids. Maybe you've led her to believe that she was going to be the main wife, the first wife, and these other wives were secondary and less important. Maybe all of that. Maybe you should have discussed this whole scenario before you got to this point. And as Sojaboy and his friends sit there chit-chatting about these wives, Kim starts screaming and she dashes a drink over him. And she said, "You're pissing me off." And he says, "Wow, really, Sojaboy?" And as Sojaboy wipes a drink from his face, I can't help but think there's a touch of something about Mary about this scene. And Kim storms off. She later tells production, "I was just upset because he kept interrupting me. He wouldn't let me finish what I was saying." And Sojaboy, embarrassed, turns to his friend and says, she's revealing an attitude that I didn't know she had before." "Yes, you did. She's exactly the same as before. She's already swilled you with one drink anyway, Sojaboy. There's literally nothing new here." And then Sojaboy lies to his friend, saying that Kim was okay with everything before, but now she's suddenly changed her mind. "Tell the truth, Sojaboy. Tell the truth. You've downplayed this whole second wife thing." And so she wasn't in possession of, I'm going to say all of the facts, pretty much any of the facts. And Sojaboy says she needs to go back to the state. And so Sojaboy runs after Kim, and they both get in the car. And as they're driving along, Kim said everyone was right. I was the one that was wrong, and she's very upset. But guys, really, I think she's upset that she's now found out that the first and second and third and fourth wives are all going to be treated equally, and that they may all have to live in the same house. But she's pretending that she's upset because Sojaboy interrupted her. And Sojaboy knows this isn't true. And when they arrive back at the hotel, Kim said, "Right, that's it, I'm going to go back." And Sojaboy says, "Go home then." And she said, "I'm going to borrow the money from somebody and I'm going." And Sojaboy said, "Let's talk. What is the problem? I want you to adapt to my way of life. I had to have sex before marriage. That's not my way of life. But I adapted." Oh my lord. Let's stop, please, Sojaboy. Let's stop. Firstly, are you expecting us all to believe that before you dated Lisa, you were a virgin and you'd never have sex? I call bullshit on that one. So you didn't adapt just for Kim? And also adapting to having sex a few months before you get married and living with not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 other wives is completely different. That's a whole life adaptation. And so let's stop with the false equivalence. It's boring. So by this point, Kim's busy crying and she says, "I want to go home." And Sojaboy said, "Get your ticket and go." And that's where we end things for this week. So what does the Ebird make to all of this? Well, I think it's quite simple. Sojaboy thought he could get one over on Kim by drip feeding her a small amount of information. And then he tried to play victim when he finally advised her of his full plans. Once again, he showed complete disdain for Kim's feelings when he decided to show off to the audience, i.e. the viewers, with his, "Well, you're both using the same dick" comment. How rude. If Sojaboy ever had any concern for Kim's feelings, he would never have put such a thought into her mind. Sojaboy thought that he could get one over on Kim and that she would come round in time. Oh, Sojaboy, that's not likely. And then, of course, there's Sojaboy's assertion that he's some sort of martyr for having sex with her. He says it's against his religion. Sojaboy, we all know you were never a virgin before you met Kim or Lisa. Come the F on. And what about Kim? She had an idea of what a first wife would be, and she told herself if she was on top, she could handle it. But we all knew she couldn't. Kim needs to reach out for help, but not from me because, well, I'm not very helpful. In fact, I'm kind of helpful. I'm just not interested, I guess. In her heart of heart, Kim knows that she can't have Sojaboy in the way that she wants him, i.e. a monogamous relationship, and so she's attempting to settle for second best. She just never anticipated second, third and fourth best. In short, Sojaboy needs to go back to the drawing board. But guys, people say that YouTubers never give back, and I want to be the first person to change that narrative. I'd like to console the person that's been the most affected by this awful storyline. And that person, of course, is poor Jamal. Jamal, if you're listening, I'd like to try cuddle therapy. Apparently, it's very effective. Give me a bell. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that Sojaboy should have told Kim that there were going to be 4 wives instead of 1? Or do you blame Kim? Should she have asked more questions early on? And do we really believe that Kim was reading Islamic law? I highly doubt it. But guys, let me know what you think in comments down below, and I'll get on with my next video. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe and all of that good stuff. And I'll see you very soon. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.